right, Mike McDaniel from Inside the ACC breaking down conference play. Louisville at Florida State, huge matchup last season that started the Lamar Jackson Heisman candidate as he and if you really look at the score and the play on the field against Florida State, it was more so the Cardinals defense that won the game against Florida State in resounding fashion. We're about 12 to 13 months later, and Lamar Jackson in Louisville suffering another loss against Boston College, of all teams. And the Cardinals defense has been awful in spots this year. Going to Tallahassee to take on Florida State. And here's a couple of marquee programs that are just trying to make it through and survive and gain something positive out of the current 2017 season, Mike.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the way Boston College was able to run the ball against Louisville last week, and that really makes me nervous about Louisville's chances of stopping a running game that includes Cam Akers, who's been, really solid for Florida State this year, and Jacques Patrick as well, who's doing a very nice job there. And they got a nice little two-headed monster in the backfield. There are no two teams that I trust less in the ACC right now than Florida State and Louisville. For the amount of talent that they have on both sides of the football, I expected both of them to be much better. Even with Florida State losing DeAndre Francois, I think the team's issues run far beyond the quarterback position. Now, James Blackman hasn't been great. I mean, he is a true freshman, so let's keep this thing in perspective. But the offensive line has been abhorrent. I mean, it's been horrible. They really haven't been able to protect James Blackman, and they weren't able to really protect DeAndre Francois either, which is why he's out for the season. You look at Florida State, and if they run the football well and take some pressure off James Blackman, I like their chances against Louisville a lot more than I like Louisville's chances with Lamar Jackson moving the ball on a Florida State defense that has been really, really solid. And the reason why I say that is because Lamar Jackson, the last few weeks, you've seen it. Teams are now just kind of letting him get his yards, but they're just kind of shutting down everybody else. If you're able to contain Lamar Jackson to a certain extent, which I think the Florida State defense is more than capable of doing, Louisville has a lot of trouble scoring enough points to win the football game. It's the bend but don't break mentality. Get Louisville into third and long and just contain Lamar Jackson, force him to punt. The playmakers on the outside for Louisville this year, for the most part, have not been able to win one-on-one battles. And when you get to that state where, Louisville's offensive line isn't performing that well, and Lamar Jackson has to hold on to the ball longer than expected, the Cardinals offense just doesn't move the ball as efficiently as you'd like, even with a guy like Lamar Jackson at the quarterback position. So I think Florida State's defense is the best unit on the field in this football game. I think they find a way to contain Lamar Jackson. And I like Florida State's running game to get something going against a Louisville defense that against the run has been putrid this year. So the problems for Louisville extend far beyond the offensive line like I originally thought. I just, to start the year, I was thinking, okay, offensive line's not great. They should have enough playmakers. Running game should be okay. Plus, they have Lamar Jackson, the reigning Heisman Trophy winner. But now the defense can't stop anybody, and that really concerns me against a Florida State team that's done a decent job running the football this year. So I like Florida State to win a close game here. I think the fact that this game is in Tallahassee definitely helps, and it's a revenge spot for the Seminoles. I mean, they gave up 63 points to Louisville on the road last year and got blown out on national TV. I think the Seminoles will be ready to play this one, and maybe if you look at, Florida State coming into this game, it might be the most complete game they play all year just because I believe they'll be so locked in, and I think they're just waiting to kind of burst out on offense. They've been so close to breaking some big plays your last couple of weeks. I think that this is a spot on Saturday where they actually do that, and I think they beat Louisville.
I picked Louisville to go 8-4 preseason. A number of people jumped on me for underestimating the Cardinals. I think that they would probably sign up for 8-4 right now, considering their recent efforts. They currently stand, of course, at 4-3, 1-3, tied for last place in the Atlantic Division with a date against Florida State, and Cam Akers and Jacques Patrick have to be looking at the stat sheet to gain some confidence and some encouragement, ready to face this Cardinals defense that gave up 272 yards to one player, A.J. Dillon, on Boston College's team when the Eagles were not supporting it with a pass. So they loaded up against the run. They still couldn't stop BC on the ground as the Eagles ran for 332 yards for 6.5 yards a carry against the Cardinals. Louisville taking on Florida State in Tallahassee.